Talking CRM with Jeff and David, getting the best value for the whole organization from your integrated CRM and accounting systems. David Beard, CRM Principal, and Jeff Richards, Head of Training Program Development for Sage CRM, spend time chatting with customers, resellers, and others about Sage CRM in action around the globe.
In this episode, Lee continues with his story on the value of integrating the front and the back office, while Jeff asks Lee how he stays current on trends and CRM skills, the value of the Sage City forums, plus the seriousness of upgrading and remaining current with the latest product release. Lee, continuing on from your 300 plus CRM to help that specific customer with their quote, pick, dispatch example from last time, what was the driver for them to do the process that way? Was it you suggesting CRM should be used that way, or did they come up with it? How did that process come together?
Initially, just had the finance system, and everything they had was just almost a paper-based, spreadsheet-based system, which they came to us to say, well, is there anything we can do here? We went through a series of meetings. Here's how you can do it. Here's how it integrates. Once we got them with the basic integration up and running, we found that there are gaps in it for them that they wanted to be able to get filled in, which is where the customizations that I've been working on with them came about.
And is it your view that getting customers on the road with CRM, even in a mini starter sort of way, helps customers understand more of what they could do?
They start to sort of see it as a bigger picture, and they see the whole supply chain and their part in it. When you're just sort of dealing with lots of little bits of systems, you don't often get an appreciation of why something has to be done that way, because that can upset somebody else further down the line if it's not. Whereas if you've got it in CRM, your process is managed. And certainly if you streamline that process with workflow, if you can get them using the workflow modules, then you can streamline the whole process. And a lot of this is taken away from the user, so mistakes can't be made. And that just streamlines the system for the customer, so they can get efficient and effective usage of their staff, and their staff get by doing what they need to do rather than trying to fix mistakes or understand where a process has gone wrong.
I'm going to take the question in a slightly different direction, because I know you've been working with the product for a very, very long time. I know that you've got a very extensive background within development and then have moved increasingly into consultancy. How do you make sure that you're still at the top of your game? How do you make sure that you still have the skills that you need to be able to serve customers?
Well, the obvious thing is training, but I mean, it's sometimes there's a lot of self-training that you've got to do. You've got to make sure that you're aware of what's coming out. So, I mean, the forums, the online forums, which of Sage City, for example, I mean, I go on there daily. I use it. I answer people's questions. And I've been in a situation where I'm the only person in the company where you're working at the time, and you're stuck. And sometimes you need help. And sometimes that's not covered by Sage support. Sometimes you just think, I don't know what to do. So you go there. I know there are people there that can help me. And I like to help them as well, because one of those things, it's rolls back and forth. So, yeah, I do make quite a lot of use of those.
Dear listener, this is really the reason why I wanted to have Lee with us today, because I know him as a very, very active citizen within Sage City, and it's great to hear you actually saying that it is a valuable place where you learn about the product and you can share your knowledge and showcase those skills to other people as well. Thank you very much for being
your ego here, Jeff, because you've been doing that for years, even on the old blog spot, and I remember that. So yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm afraid you can't remember the blog spot, Lee. That was completely illegal. That was before Sage discovered the good things about social media, and yes, I was doing that completely unauthorized. I was a naughty boy.
Well, I think you filled the niche, but yeah, it's nice to be able to share the knowledge, because it's all right in my head, but sometimes other people do need help, and I need the help sometimes. I don't know everything, and it's a continual learning cycle. So
yes, and the real world presents new problems all the time, doesn't it?
Every day.
You must have some horror stories, though, from where your consultancy have discovered things within projects Have you been involved in CRM rescue, where you have actually had to pull a project back from the brink?
I've been handed a project like that a long time ago. They were long out of support with their provider at the time. They got an incredibly old system, and they were going through the different business partners trying to find somebody that knew the older systems. And as it was, they came across where I was working at the time, and I knew how to get them upgraded because so far behind, I think it's about 8 or 9 versions behind what it should have been. They are still a customer of mine now.
One of the things that regularly crops up actually within our presentations that David and I do when we're briefing about the new versions is the amazing long tail of upgrades. So Lee, you'll recognise the fact that we have to explain to some people really how to get up from version 7 all the way up to where we are in 2022 R1. It's very interesting how sometimes projects get lost, if you like. They are being used on a daily basis, but suppose some people think that I'm not going to change it. Dear listener, the reason we want people to make sure they are current is not because we like the pure cash of maintenance and support or subscription. It is because it is security that is the main issue. So many little gaps now. If you were on something that is not terribly old, like 2017, you'd have all these gaps of things like Flash, and the old charts that we used to use at Flash can't work anymore. You can't use this, that, or the other. Browser versions have gone out of support, etc. I'm going to start thinking about a question that draws all our conversations that we've had. More and more partners are getting involved in Sage CRM because of the opportunities that the cloud is presenting. What are the tips that you're offering a new consultant or a new partner?
From a new consultancy point of view,
Read everything Jeff has ever written on Sage City.
Well, that's a good start. There's a lot of it. So.
That'll take some time.
Yeah. It's been hard to sort of suggest how the product is not a rigid product that you can't change. It's the fact that you can bend it quite easily to meet the needs of what your business is. And half the time, really, it's trying to identify how your business works. You know, a lot of businesses change over time because they're kind of amorphous blobs and they move about as they age. But sometimes the software has got to move with it. And as a consultant, kind of suggest how or show how it can easily happen by being able to how easily it can be extended to meet needs.
If I can jump in and sort of embellish a bit, I was talking to a customer just yesterday, Lee, been using the product for nearly 10 years now, and their partner and the consultant they work with is very cognizant of the way the business ran. They became as much a part of the business that they were consulting for as they were their own business that they were doing the consulting on behalf of. So they understood the business they were in, and they were always thinking, what about that process? Or what about that department over there? So does that help?
Yeah, because you can cross over, certainly a bigger company. I mean, there's lots of different departments and areas that can be brought in. It's not just about, keeping a sales history or logging cases for support desks or anything like that. The product can be extended out into other areas. I'm just trying to get a reasonable example. There's a customer, and they've been using CRM now for 4 years, and they're pushing it out across. They're bringing in more and more of their users. I think they've probably got about 30 odd users at the moment. They're very territory based in terms of the countries they work in. They're sort of trying to streamline it so that the users are very focused in the area they're in rather than looking at everything across the whole business. And it allows them to just keep the user focused in a certain area. But that depends on what your business model is. Some businesses don't need that kind of approach.
Thank you very much, Lee, for that. I think we've got some very good points there.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It's been entertaining.
You've been listening to Talking CRM with Jeff and David, getting the best for the whole organization from your integrated CRM and accounting systems.